Time of year again. It is getting towards the end of the year, and today, me and Matt Curcio are going to share some insights with you, some things you may not be thinking about, but you should be thinking about that can make your 2019 much, much more plentiful. What do you think, Mr. Curcio? How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Yeah, I just wanted to shoot a live today. It's the end of the year. This is when everybody's sitting back, figuring out what their fees totaled up to, what their commissions were, how they're going to, set their year up for next year. So I wanted to kind of interview you a little bit for the public, and then we'll share some of the stuff we got coming up in January, where they can get some coaching, especially locally here, and with your company. But in general, I titled this online myself as end of year update and some things that I know that every year in my career continue to ask every single year, right? And the main questions were basically, is it time for me to ask my broker for a raise, or a reduction in my fees? I was at a fee-based company. And then if you're on a team, is it time to step off a team?
Right.
Then what can you do to build up your business, right? How do you make, if you did 10 sales, how do you go to 20? And obviously net income was always important to me. And then what other companies out there have some other things to offer versus where some of these agents may be in their career. I guess next question, let's say the average agent sold, 15 homes or so. I guess it's time everybody's thinking, how do we get better? How do I sell more homes? What can I do to increase my income this year?
So I'm glad you brought that up. We actually have a process for how we think about this. So it's called the exponential growth strategy. I think obviously we kind of subscribe to the 5 ways to grow a business model, which basically just breaks down if it's just super simple to get, right? Like, number 1, increasing the number of leads you have. You had a certain number of leads that you got this year, and and if you increase the number of leads that you have, there's a good chance that you're going to sell more houses. So increasing the number of leads is one area that you should have a plan and focus on. It may not be the number 1 problem you have, but it's probably going to vie for the number 1 spot if you want to grow your business in terms of priorities. As I would look at a monthly or a quarterly priority, I would say that what are you doing to generate more leads is definitely going to be up there pretty high. The other thing that I think people sometimes get lost in when you're spending a bunch of money to try to acquire more leads is, well, are you clear on what your strategy is? Are you clear on what the right things in the right order? Are you going to generate seller leads? Are you focused on trying to do more seller deals? Because if you get listings, you're going to get buyers. So if you just focused on listings and did everything that, put all your effort, energy, and marketing dollars into seller lead generation, what happens is listings have babies. Listings have babies that are more other listings. The listing that you sold where they have to buy another house, and all of these different multiple transactions can happen from. So, the listing side of the business is where I would tend to focus on lead generation before I would look at the buyer lead generation, because of the amount of time that you invest in working with the buyer versus working with the seller. So, that's just a strategic move on your time. But lead generation in and of itself is going to be one of the things that is going to be a big lever and ways to exponentially grow your business for 2019. And I think everybody knows that, but I don't know that everybody has a plan for that. The second thing is conversion. So, you're converting a certain number of those leads. There's a lot of metrics in here that you should be tracking that probably not following as closely as you could. What is the number of leads generated? How many of them did you contact in the first 5 minutes? What did you say on the phone? How did you follow up? What was your offer for them to meet with you? What was your value proposition for them to sign a buyer brokerage agreement or to sign a listing agreement? Of the appointments that you set, how many of them rescheduled or did you actually meet? So all of these metrics that can happen in between the time you have a lead and the time that you actually have a deal are metrics that are either underperforming or not performing at maximum. And so you have to look at, okay, out of all the leads that I'm getting, am I even calling all these leads? Am I calling them in the first 5 minutes because we know that that's going to give me 105 times greater chance of being successful? Or am I dropping the ball here? Or is there other things I can get off my plate so that I can follow up better with the leads I already have? So optimization around lead conversion as opposed to just dumping more leads into an inefficient, sales process. So that's the second one. The third one is an easy one, and it's just a strategy, and it's focusing on a higher average sale price. So if you look at if you want to make more money, you don't have to sell more houses. You just have to sell houses where you have a higher average sale price, or you charge a higher average commission. And some of you are discounting your commission all the time. If you just had learned a skill for how to demonstrate your value, that skill could get you from 2.5% on average to 3% on average. Do the math on your business over the course of the year. That might be 10 or 15 or 20 or $30,000 raise just by learning the skill to be able to negotiate your commission to be, the commission that you want to charge. Or there's been years where I actually raised my commission, especially in a market that's more of a downturn. I charge more. I'm not saying you should charge this, but I charge 7%. I kept 4% off for 3%. That was what I did during all of 2007 and 8, and I believe I was worth it. That's why I did it. So, but that was a skill that I had to learn. But my focus was on increasing the average dollar per sale. So to get an example of this would be to think about, if you think about the book Good to Great, when they talk about Eckerd's versus Eckerd's, if you remember Eckerd's Drug, Drug versus I want to say it's Walgreens. CVS is what I think of today, but Walgreens, Walgreens had a strategy. They moved literally I think this was in the 80s, 80s and 90s. They moved all of their stores from interior, like middle of the blocks, to the corners. They did that for a couple of reasons that are related to all of these kind of these principles around growing your business. One was because they knew that if they could get more traffic into the store, that more footprints into the front door was going to equal more sales. That's more leads. Okay. And the other thing that they recognized, this is way back when, was that if they did photo development, and this will be the next one actually, but the photo development got you to come into the store 2 more times than you normally would, because you come in, drop your photos off, you'd spend $30. You come in and pick them up, you spend $30 again. They knew every time someone came in the store, you were going to spend $30. They also ended up, I think they actually, I can't remember if they widened or they tightened up the aisles in Walgreens to put in more product, I think it was. And so they had more things that you could buy while you were there. So they increased the number of options you have. They increased the average dollar spent in the store from $20-something to $30-something. And so every time you came back, they were making more money per footprint through the front door. So, in our business, in real estate, as you think about that, the average sale price is really, buying more retail items. The same reason that Walmart puts milk at the very back of Walmart is because they want you to walk all the way to the back of Walmart to get your milk, and then have to come by all this gauntlet of all this other stuff to get out of the store. They know you're going to spend more dollars if they do that. If they put milk in the front of the store, people would just come in, get their milk, and leave. And that's how they increase the point of sale, how much per person at the checkout. And so in our business, you can do that by focusing on a higher average sale price. Focus on getting listings in an area that has a higher average sale price. Focus on being able to charge a higher commission. You can what I ultimately ended up doing, the extreme of this, I ended up buying a mortgage company and a title company. So I made the money on every time, I made as much money that was being made in that transaction outside of the commission, all the way through to the title side, where I was making that money and the mortgage on the buyer and the money on the real estate commission. You can add a transaction fee to every deal that you do, which is going to increase the overall dollar amount per sale. So again, you're just trying to say, okay, well, I only made $5,000 per deal this year. How do I take that to $7,000 next year? How do I get to $7,500? How could I increase that by 50%? That would make an immediate huge difference in your business. But you have to have a strategy to focus on that in order for it to happen. So there's 2 more, but I want to make sure I don't leave anything out. And your feedback, Matt. What are some things that maybe that kind of made you think about?
Go to the last one, and I'll give you my opinion.
Okay, right. So it's the number of transactions. So this is called frequency of purchase. So the Walgreens example was they knew that they had to come in to drop their photos off, They knew that if it was more accessible, they're more likely to stop in there more often. And, they know they got to come back and get their photos. So they were getting a customer to come into a Walgreens 3 times, 4 times a month, where they might only come to Walgreens once a month in the past. So they increased that frequency of sale. In real estate, much harder to do, right? People buy a house, but they don't usually buy another one for 7 years, except that there are certain subsets of the market where there are repeat business that's completely repetitive. A builder client, for instance, if you have a new construction builder that you work with, they give you multiple deals at a time. Sometimes every single month you got a consistent client there that's giving you multiple transactions. You've got people that buy from you that ultimately could be buying another investment property from you. That's an angle of trying to turn a customer into an investor and investing in real estate. You have REO business, although it's not my favorite choice for maybe the focus, but it is repeat business. I mean, it's so repeat that you tend to forget about retail, and your whole whole business dries up because you're just living on REO until the market shifts again back into the favor of the banks and whatnot, and then there's not any REOs like we're dealing with today in the last 3 years. But that's again repeat business. They're consistently giving you deals. I always had an investor is another one. So I had investors that would buy every month. If I could find them 1 or 2 deals, they would buy. And so that was a good customer to have because they represented 20 plus transactions. But then they would remodel those houses because I had one good flip customer that he would buy, then he would relist it with me because that was the deal we made. If I find you the deal, and then I would double end it because by the time it was finished, I had a buyer because it was a brand new remodel. It was a great looking house. So I'm getting 3 transactions out of that. So that was a huge chunk of the business. And if you don't have that relationship with someone, that's an area of the business that you could definitely focus on. And the last one, is net profit. So, this is real simple. The cost that you're incurring, where we started this conversation, which starts at the brokerage level. A lot of people don't start there, which I love the way you started this conversation, Matt, because, most people are giving away a ton of money to the brokerage. And, and some people are going to be listening to this going, man, you're so right. I know I am doing, because I'm doing all this business myself. The brokerage didn't give me any business. Some brokerages, they're giving you a deal here or there, or they're giving you some leads, but you're not closing any deals, and stuff like that. You just got to do the math. And it starts at how much money am I paying to be where I'm at? And as much as you like people, this is a business. You got to treat it like a business. You need to put yourself in the best position to earn the most amount of money and be as successful as you can. You can't leave money on the table. And so, it starts with that. But net profit, then it becomes just more optimization and more optimization and more optimization. What things are you doing? Are you doing things at maximum? Are you paying for things? Show me your credit card bill. You and I both know that your credit card bill, you got some stuff on there you ain't using that you should be canceling. Just be efficient. You know what I'm saying? Treat your business like a business. And, really try to tweak and control that net profit. The biggest mistake I see in net profit is the number of buyer agents and the focus around generating buyer leads for your team versus getting listings that are 100% of the commission goes to the bottom line. So, you want to increase your net profit. You can generate as many buyer leads as you want, but you can't effectively increase the labor dollar because it's your cost of sales that goes out the door with the buyer lead that closes. You're not going to make them more efficient because you don't control the agent's time and where they spend it. But on the listing side of the business, anything you could do to be more effective. I had a big aha when I wasn't in the business, and I had Stace who was going on listing appointments, and we were looking at our business on how to tweak the profit. We were trying to take the business from, after I'd stepped out, we were trying to take it from -3%. When I stepped out of the business, I was at -3%. When I did the math going backwards, scratching my head, what the heck? How do we do this? We're not even making money. To completely stepped out of the business and 22% pre-tax profit in Lawton, Oklahoma. This is a huge deal for the average sale price, but we did it by increasing the efficiency of every labor dollar in the company, meaning every person that worked for me was going to absolutely be doing the most dollar productive activity. So sending Stace Bolender on a listing appointment in Temple, Oklahoma, where only 30% of the time we sell the house and it's at half the average sale price of what it was in my marketplace. You got to send a courier out there and gas and time and that you're spending for that to put sign and lockbox up. You got to go pick that up, a year later when it doesn't sell. you start saying, okay, we're just not going to do that business anymore. It's not worth it to us. And in doing that, I gained 4 or 5 hours labor dollar back in employees that could have been redirected into areas that were higher return on that labor dollar. So those are the 5 things that those are covering a pretty wide gamut there of different scenarios. But hopefully it's getting you thinking about how you could be saving more money, netting more money in your business.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Obviously I've been a huge NAEA and Kinder Reese guy for years, so I've seen this a lot over the years. And I guess my only comment to that, to increase your income, one thing we didn't get into at all is coaching. I truly believe in coaching a lot. KinderReeseCoaching.com, is that still a link?
Yeah, KinderReeseCoaching.com. Yep.
So Cameron, if you want to throw that up there for everybody, we'll throw that up in the comments so everybody can jump in and get some materials from you so they can learn how to grow their business and maybe get a printout of that, the card that you got there.
Yeah.
And then what's it called? And also CRMs, right? CRMs are big. So I would say, everybody, if once you're past about 15, 20 transactions, you need to systemize your business. I happen to use Market Maker. I think that's marketmakerleads.com. We'll double check that too. But it's a software that I personally control my whole business with. I have, from the point I have a listing appointment to the when I take it to when it goes pending, there's steps for the admins in here and myself to follow. And that goes along with, when a buyer lead, inquires about a property. This morning, I think I've already gotten, and you can attest to this, the messages that come into my system.
Let me get my phone. On Matt's Market Maker, I was getting all the text messages of all the leads that you're generating, which I hope somebody's calling all those because you were getting a ton of them.
Yeah, so we have automated messaging going out to them, text messages and everything. So that will help you grow your business. Just be careful on the cost and make sure, I guess one thing about CRMs that you can get lost in, especially to the newer agents or people doing less than like 25 deals, is figure out what problems you need to solve before you go buying a robust system. Because you can end up with a system that can do 1,000 different things where you're going to use 10% of it and the cost is just not something you need to invest in. So, all right, down to I guess the last question that I said we'd answer.